KSW.
Please welcome to the show,
Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
And BBT is like one of the top comedies in the nation, which is saying something for situation comedies, which, there aren't a lot of good situation comedies out there on television anymore because they just don't really dedicate the great writing and great acting to them. And look at what it is. It's about us. It's about what we love, which you have been unabashed about your entire life. Which is so great about you, Will, is you said, you know what, this is who I am. This is what I love, and I'm not going away, and I'm not going to be ashamed. And I think a lot of us have been very, very thankful for that.
Yeah, I just think these things that we love, comic books and sci-fi and fantasy and Joss Whedon shows right up until the moment they're canceled. These things that make us who we are and these things that we really love. I think it's really awesome that we have opportunities to get together and really share our love of these things. And like I'm up here this weekend for the Emerald City Comic Con, and it's one of these like few times a year where I can go someplace and be surrounded by people I don't know, but we all love exactly the same thing, and that sort of commonality brings us all together and makes us sort of like a tribe for a weekend.
I think it's an inspiring thing, too. I know, like, when we go to our work conventions, like a radio convention, the best thing you get out of it is that you fall back in love with what you already love to do.
Yeah, right. It's like you're around people who love it as much as you do.
Right.
And you remember why this stuff matters to you. Yep. And maybe you meet people, maybe you make friends. But it's just this, it's this terrific opportunity to get together and celebrate the culture that has brought us so much joy.
And I think everybody gets so fired up to see you there. Like they're just so excited. Will Wheaton's going to be there. It's like the highlight of their thing. But what do you get all fired up about like what excites Will Wheaton?
Coming up to a show like this, there are so many great comic book writers in the Pacific Northwest, and it's just awesome to get to come here and get to see these guys and talk to them about the books that I love. And there are friends that I have that I really only get to see when we're in the same city for a convention. So I'm like really looking forward to seeing Aaron Douglas this weekend. He played Chief on Battlestar Galactica. I lost a bet to Aaron. Yeah. I took Team USA in the finals of the men's Olympic hockey tournament, and Aaron, like a fool, took Canada, and as we all know, in the overtime period, the only member of Team USA who decided to play hockey was Ryan Miller.
Oh yeah,
and
lights out.
And then so I lost a bet. I have to wear a Team Canada sweater tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not. Wow. It could be so much worse.
Yeah.
It could be so much worse. I could have been forced to drink a Labatt's.
That's true.
It really could have been a lot worse. And I was Aaron and I were really giving each other a hard time on Twitter and really trash talking each other. But the truth is, I love Canada, and even if the U.S. had won that game and taken the gold medal, which the country wanted so badly,
right.
At the end of the game, we have shiny medals, but Canada still has health care, and we still have Sarah Palin. Like, Canada wins.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. There was only that one moment where we could shine, and then reality sets right back in.
Boy, when Team USA scored and tied that game, I was convinced that my neighbors would have called the police on account of all the screaming.
I scared my dog.
I scared my dogs too. Yep. My dogs went into my bedroom, and they were both on my bed, heads down. Like, what did we do? Why are you so mad at us?
I cried for our country,
and it is so. Wow. It's so great to have a moment like that. Because a lot of times in sports, with all the stuff that goes on in sports, and sometimes just with the spoiled brat nature of some of the participants in sports, to have one of those moments where, you got real athletes who really care about what they're doing, and to have such a moment where you go, wow, it looks like it's over, and then boom, the final, it hardly ever works that you get to pull a man and actually score a goal, pull the goalie and score the goal.
Yeah.
That hardly ever works, and
right.
It did in one of the biggest games, especially for hockey in this country, because people don't follow hockey as much as the other sports. It was a hell of a game and a hell of a stage.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great tournament too. Yeah. And I hope that it is that this is really a win for USA Hockey. I really hope that it gets people excited about hockey in the United States.
It has to be,
and gets kids playing and maybe encourages Gary Bettman to dump this stupid, idiotic exclusive contract with Versus and put the NHL back on a real network so that people can actually see it.
Exactly. That would help.
Yeah. Because listen, memo to DirecTV and Versus. Guys, you're both pretty. Okay, you're both pretty, and you both have enormous wangs. We're very impressed. Now, if we could just get your crap together so that I can watch hockey by the playoffs, that would be awesome. Thanks. Yeah. But I have such a good time being at an event like the Emerald City Comic Con, where I get to meet lots of people and I get to perform for people. I'm doing a bunch of stuff this weekend. Yeah. I'm running a Dungeons and Dragons game tomorrow. I'm performing material from my books tomorrow, and then on Sunday I'm hosting a rock band party.
Yeah, what is that all about?
So I started doing this. I had this idea. I was up here for the Child's Play dinner like 2 years ago, and we went to a bar in Fremont where they had rock band on a stage, and we all got to play rock band in front of an actual audience of people. Rock band's always fun, even if you're just playing with your friends or your family. But when you play in front of people, like when you're like, it takes pretending to be a musician to a whole other level, and it was so much fun that I thought, God, we should do this at a con. Like, we're all nerds, we all play the hell out of this game. We should get together and pretend to be rock stars at a con. So at the Phoenix Comic Con a couple of years ago, I just had a rock band party. If you go to YouTube, you can actually Google Will Wheaton Rock Band Phoenix, and there are all these videos of us just looking like jackasses and not even caring. And I've brought this idea with me to other cons. So that's what I'm doing. I'm hosting that. That's awesome.
Hey guys, would you find that and tweet it out there so that everybody can just real quickly get on the link and they'll get that video that Will was talking about.
I could be wrong, but I'm making an assumption because both of us are goalies, and it seems like any goalie that I know, they're always the catcher in softball or baseball, and they're the drummer if they play music. Right? You play drums?
Yeah, of all the pretend instruments in rock band, drums are my favorite. But I've had to actually get good at all four instruments in rock band, because people come up, the way that we work it is the three people come up, they choose their instruments, they choose their song, and then I take whatever they don't want.
So you're like the Jack White of rock band. What's wrong with that?
I'm not a.
You're not a White Stripes fan? No. This conversation ends now.
I know. I realize I'm dead to a lot of people.
But hey, Will, have you ever seen?
It Might Get Loud.
Have you seen that documentary? It Might Get Loud.
No.
If you see that, it's a great documentary about Edge, Jimmy Page, and Jack White, three great guitarists, and it's a beautiful documentary about how they do what they do. And I will tell you something, it might change your mind about Jack White, because I was sort of like you on that, and all of a sudden I see this documentary, which is a great documentary if you love music anyway. It Might Get Loud is what it's called. And gosh, he really came off like quite a genius. And to see the three different generations of guitarists of our time just jamming together and talking about the biz,
awesome.
It was a cool thing, and it did change my opinion of Jack a bit.
Just to be clear, I have no opinion on him personally. The White Stripes just don't do it. Well, that's what.
Yeah,
that's all.
Thing,
I'm not saying that they're a bad band.
What about the Raconteurs
or the Dead Weather?
What is with you guys?
We're Jack White enthusiasts.
He's
seriously.
very talented.
You're like number one or number two Jack White super fan club?
No,
right? We got the Dakota ring and the tattoos. And you have the action figures.
You got us.
I know. No, that's awesome. Embrace it. Embrace it. Love that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, it's kind of, those guys are musical geeks. I mean, these guys are so into music. Art is something that people interpret. It doesn't mean that anything is good or bad. It's just how it hits the person viewing it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I love coming together for conventions and why I feel comfortable doing these ridiculous rock band things at shows like this is that we don't care if we look cool. We don't really have to impress anybody. We just want to have fun. And we have a tendency as nerds to kind of eat our own. And I've been working real hard, since my Penny Arcade Expo keynote speech in 2007. I've been working really hard to get people to embrace the idea that not being a dick is awesome when you're at a show, when you're playing games, when you're just sort of like out in your life, and I try to carry that sort of like, it's like I have a +5 field of don't be a dick that is it's like a sustained minor that just sort of floats around me and gives everybody within 12 feet +1 and don't be a dick. So I've been trying to bring that.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you're running around increasing everybody's abilities. I love that. And in a good way.
Yeah.
That's not you know what? That's not a bad attribute to have.
Yeah. It was that or like, improved initiative, and it really wasn't even much of a choice. There is a D&D nerd right now who's laughing so hard at that.
I know. It's it is so true.
The BJ Shea Morning Experience on 99.9 KISW.